Happy Thursday. There was once a man in Africa that dug his dead mother's body up and had relations with it for fame and fortune. I'm such a troll. If I had to hear this story, you have to hear it too. If you are new here, hi, my name is Noah. I tell stories that usually give you your daily dosage of internet and you're ready to log off after them. Get comfortable, and if you are not following me, I highly recommend that you do that now. There is a 28-year-old man named Ramadan who I am assuming lives in the Tanzania area of Africa. Some time ago, he was so desperate to become famous. He's very talented, and his family and friends encouraged him to do the right thing and become famous the old-fashioned way. But instead, he took the spiritual route and decided that he was going to make connections with a wealthy man in his area who I assume wasn't even that successful, was a slave, and you'll see what I mean by slave in a couple seconds. And the wealthy man told him, you're going to have to make some sacrifices and do some things that may be scary, but I can definitely tell you how I got rich. Ramadan was definitely skeptical and a little afraid, but he trusted the wealthy man and he wanted to be wealthy and famous, so they went out into the countryside. The wealthy man pointed at a hut and said, that's where I got rich. The wealthy man agreed to wait on Ramadan, and Ramadan entered into the hut. Inside of this small makeshift home was an older woman, which Ramadan said later on was a witch. The woman already knew Ramadan's name and knew why he was there. That was red flag number one. She said, I know why you're here and I can give you what you want, but you are going to have to sleep. Have spicy time with your mother. Ramadan was not only horrified but confused because his mother passed away 2 weeks before. So he explains this to the witch, and the witch is like, I know your mama dead. You need to go and dig her body up and have spicy time with it if you want what you're asking me for. Totally in shock and disgust, Ramadan ran from the woman's house. The man that brought him there, that wealthy man, was no longer there. I suspect that he was a slave and had made bad dealings with the witch himself and had to do this. He ran and ran and ran, but he kept ending up at the witch's house. It was like a big ass loop. And every time he ran further and further, but still ended up at this witch's house, his thoughts changed. Each time he thought, maybe I should do this. His thoughts were moving towards actually doing this shit. So after running for miles, but always ending up back at the witch's house, he finally gave in. And his thought process was, if I want to be famous and rich, I have to do anything. So he re-enters the witch's house, and she's sitting there amused, as if she knew he was running in a big-ass loop and ending up at the same place. So she says to him, you made the right decision. You need to take this horn with these 7 needles inside of this cloth, and you need to go get 7 of your friends, and at 2 a.m. go to the cemetery and dig up your mother's deceased body and do the do with it. So he follows directions to a T and goes to all of his friends' houses, and they all agree to help him do this. Ramadan even said that it was super scary how none of them looked at him like a fucking weirdo. So they all go down to the cemetery with the horn, the 7 needles wrapped in a cloth, and they help Ramadan dig up his deceased mother's body. And Ramadan commented how fresh his mother's body appeared to be in the ground for 2 weeks without any embalming. They all watch him do this to his mother's body as if they're in a trance, not speaking a word. And after he's finished, they proceed to ask him to introduce them to the witch as well. This story is unhinged. I apologize in advance. As soon as he was done doing what he did, he felt nothing but regret and despair. There's way more to this story, but you're going to have to go to my YouTube page to hear the rest of it because it is crazy. The link is in my bio. This is your friendly reminder to stay the fuck out the spiritual realm.
Hello, happy creepy spooky Sunday. I have another amazing story for you guys. I mean, multiple different stories for you guys this Sunday. But first, I want to make an announcement. For anyone who is going to complain in the comment section that the stories end too soon or they want a part 2 of that particular story, if it was not added in this video, that means it will come in the next video. Or the original creator either cut the story short or they never created a part 2. but it is my job to come and bring those stories to you, go into the TikTok, the dark part of TikTok, and finding interesting stories to share with you guys. And hopefully you'll learn something or you'll be entertained. I hope you enjoy the video. Please do not leave any negative comments in the comment section. This is only for good time only. We are here to have a great time, enjoy the stories, and move on with our life. It is never that serious. I hope you enjoy this video. Thank you. Bye.
When I was 9 months pregnant of my second-born child, I was living in my ex-husband's village with his mother. His mother was a very sweet woman. She was a very sweet, calm woman, very prayerful. But during the day, everything is okay. At night, I'm battling all sorts of battles. I didn't know what I was going through. I didn't even know what spiritual wars are. I'm a kid. I'm like 19, 20, 21. I didn't even know. But then the reason why I stopped telling my mother-in-law is because every time I would tell her, she would cry. And I realized I was depressing her. But these women who visited me every night, we knew each other. And I knew they know that I know that they do come to my bed every night. And I realized that these women were preparing me for something. The reason why they now visited me every night when I was 9 months, they were preparing me for something. But I was not sure exactly what they are preparing me for. Since I didn't know what these women were preparing me for, I didn't know what to do or what to expect. Plus, I'm just a kid. One day, my mother-in-law had gone to church. One of the same old women I dreamt about, so I'm always with in the spiritual realm, battling whatever. She brings me food during the day, daylight, in the physical. She brings me food. As soon as I touched that plate, my heart beat. My heart was beating beyond. I took that food, gave it to the dog. Dog poured soil on it. And then I realized that no, these people are preparing me for my death, either me or my child. Since my heart was beating, I was now scared. Now I know the reality, I know the truth. I take a nap. In my process of sleeping, I'm dreaming of my own mother shoving garlic and onion in urgency under my tongue. And she's literally, she's trying to say something, but I can't hear her. Soon as I woke up, went to the shops, got garlic and onion for myself. Like always now, I don't tell my mother-in-law. That night, before I go to bed, I shoved the garlic and onion under my tongue as I saw in my dream. Went to bed. That night, my friends, they never show up. Second night, they don't show up. I didn't give up. I continued putting that garlic and onion under my tongue. Third night, they show up. Now, when you put garlic and onion under your tongue, before a witch has to come into your room, they have to fully paralyze you. When you have this concoction under your tongue, they can't fully paralyze you. For a pregnant woman, they had paralyzed me halfway. Now I was battling on that bed, battling, up until I threw myself off the bed. 9 months pregnant. In the process of me thinking, I've hurt the baby. These women are trying to touch me. Now it's no longer just a spiritual thing. They are here. I can feel them. They're trying to touch me. I picked myself up like a soldier from nowhere. Picked myself up. Falling on my knees. Picked myself up. Falling. Got into the sitting room. These women thought I didn't know them. As soon as I got into the sitting room, I took a knife and I opened the door nicely and slowly. I went outside. With that knife, I dug a hole. I knew they were watching. The presence of a witch, you always feel it. No matter how, you always feel it. I dug a hole with that knife and I spit the garlic and the onion in that hole. And I started calling these people's names. Let us be clear. First of all, be clear. Mention somebody's name. Rasimama, Masimama. I mentioned them as they were that particular moment. And I said it with my mouth. If I die, there will never be peace with you. Because me and my ancestors will come back for you. If my child dies, you're still going to pay for it. My dear, a week later, I gave birth to my child. It wasn't easy, but I gave birth to that child. Me, Zawad. In life, never be afraid of a witch. Anything they fear is for you to know them by name.
Okay, I came on here to tell you you guys a story. A friend of mine named Chinagozi, he's from Nigeria. He told me this story. So he had an aunt. Well, he still has an aunt. And the aunt would always, is a beautiful aunt, and she would always leave and only show up for family functions. And she was very affluent. She had all this money, always dressed well, always looked beautiful. But every time they took a picture of her, it would only get her from the waist up. No matter if you turn the camera, if you try to do a wide picture, it would only catch her from the waist up. And so Chinagozi went to his mother, and you know, when he got older, he asked her, how come any picture we take of Auntie, it's always her upper half, you can't see, you know, what she's wearing or her outfit or whatever. And his mother was like, don't ask questions, you shouldn't know, and everything like that. And then he always wondered where his aunt got this money from. So basically the other aunt told him, pulled him to the side as a teenager, because he was asking questions as a child. When he got older, another aunt pulled him to the side, her sister, and said, well, you know, that you're
Piggyback off of her story, I just want to make some correction on the name of the mermaid. So she was talking about how her aunt, or the person's aunt, was a mermaid, and they go by the name La Sirène, is what she says. But it is called La Sirène, and she is considered a Haitian mermaid, or from the Haitian tribe of mermaids, and the name is La Sirène. There's La Sirène and there's La Baleine. There's songs about them. And yes, when they said how did her aunt or his aunt ended up with all the money, well, that's the thing. You can trade someone, or you can trade something for wealth. And as long as you work with them, as long as you continue to give them the offering, they will give you copious amount of wealth, as long as you continue to do their biddings or actually work with them. Not necessarily for them, but work with them. They will give you money, especially if you end up turning.
I came across a video where a woman was stating that she literally partnered up with her grandmother to do sihr, black magic, on her best friend to switch destinies and to...
I have to keep reiterating this because this is not a joke. If you know anybody that's doing dark arts or black magic, please do your best to not befriend them. Because the minute that they see something that you had that they want, they have all the reason to use that black magic and dark arts on you. And I am a victim of a destiny exchange, and it is one of the most horrifying, terrifying revelations that you can make, because someone ultimately wants your life and wants your blessings, and potentially willing to do anything for it. And if you are a victim, or you think you are a victim of a destiny exchange, you have to understand that it's not just going to happen through active magic or dark arts. Witchcraft comes in many forms: jealousy, bullying, manipulation, intimidation. And if you fall victim to those things, that person can take what's yours spiritually. And you have to understand, your blessings can literally be transferred to that person. I'm not saying you gotta hate people, but you gotta stay away from them most of the time. But let me let you in on a little secret. Anybody that steals from you, including something as big as a destiny, those people eventually are not going to know what to do with their destiny. They're going to be completely oblivious and miserable, that they're never going to have peace until they confess what they've done and how they treated people over the years. So if you're looking for a way to get your blessings back, you never fight witchcraft with witchcraft. You get in alignment with God, because if you do that, it's only going to make things worse. If you do witchcraft in any form, just like the person did to you, then you're no better than that person. Please get in alignment with God. Pray for them, even though it's probably going to be the hardest thing for you to do because of how much they got away with. And then the blessings will start rolling in. And when they roll in, the harvest will be so overwhelming because of how long you had to go without your blessings that belong to you. They will all come at once. It'll be like they never stole them. Be at peace and move on with your life.
Out of all the stories that I've heard growing up in witchcraft and around sorcery, this one set itself apart from a lot. So it has nothing to do with African practices. It has everything to do with Islam and Arabic jinn magic. So pretty much there was an imam who spoke about a specific group of Muslims or sect of Muslims whose name starts with a T. If you know, you know. And he spoke about them negatively on a public platform. They told him, you will regret this. So what they do is they break into his home when he's gone, push out the refrigerator, write Ayatul Kursi backwards in blood on the back of his refrigerator. They push it back in and leave. He gets back, sees his house was broken into, but nothing was took. He calls the police. They do nothing. He thinks of it as nothing. He moves on. Months later, he's backing out of his driveway and he hears a boom. He gets out and he realizes he ran over his 1-year-old son's head and killed his child. After going through the process of his son dying, he moves out the home. And when he's moving out, he notices Ayatul Kursi is written backwards on the back of his refrigerator in blood.